Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're a fantasy fan, you've definitely seen these two green-skinned troublemakers pop up everywhere: orcs and goblins. They often fight for the same dark lords, lurk in the same dingy caves, and, let's be honest, sometimes they look pretty similar. So what's the real difference? Are goblins just mini-orcs? Or is there more to the story? Today, we are rediving deep into the lore of high fantasy to finally settle the great orc versus goblin debate. We'll explore their origins, their physical traits, their societies, and their iconic roles in the worlds we love. By the end of this, you'll be a certified expert, ready to tell your Uruk-hai from your Gringotts goblin. So, grab your battle axe or your bag of shiny trinkets, and let's get started. First, let's talk about where they came from. The modern idea of both creatures owes a massive debt to one man, J.R.R. Tolkien, in his Middle-earth legendarium. The terms orc and goblin were actually interchangeable. The smaller kind, like those in the misty mountains that captured Bilbo's company, were often called goblins. The larger, more formidable ones, like those bred by Saruman and Sauron, were called orcs or Uruk-hai. For Tolkien, they were all essentially the same corrupted race, originally elves who were captured and twisted by dark magic. So, in the beginning, it was more a matter of size and class than a completely different species. But fantasy is a living, breathing genre, and later creators took these ideas and ran with them in completely new directions. That's where the real divergence begins. Let's break down their physical differences, because this is where modern fantasy has really drawn a clear line. Think of orcs as the heavyweights. They're typically large, muscular, and brutish. Imagine a linebacker built for pure destruction. They have broad shoulders, powerful frames, and often sport tusks or prominent underbites, giving them a boar-like or ape-like appearance. Their skin tone can range from green to gray, black, or even a sickly reddish-brown. Everything about an orc screams strength and intimidation. Goblins, on the other hand, are the lightweights. They're small, wiry, and often hunched over. Think less about brute force and more about sneaky agility. They're known for their long noses, pointed ears, and wide, menacing grins filled with sharp teeth. Their defining features are their cunning eyes and nimble fingers, perfect for tinkering, trap-making, and, of course, pilfering. So, if you see a hulking beast charging at you, it's probably an orc. If you see a small creature scurrying in the shadows, that's likely a goblin. Now for society and intelligence, which is where they truly become polar opposites. Orcish society, if you can call it that, is usually depicted as crude, violent, and tribal. It's a world where might makes right. The strongest orc leads the warband, and their culture revolves around warfare, raiding, and conquest. They're often seen as foot soldiers, the blunt instruments of a greater evil, driven by rage and a desire for battle. While they can be cunning in a fight, they aren't known for their intellect or inventiveness. Goblins, however, are a different story. Their society is chaotic, but it's a clever chaos. They are known for their surprising intelligence, especially when it comes to mechanics, alchemy, and commerce. Think of the goblins in Warcraft, with their explosive inventions and trade empires, or the banker goblins of Harry Potter's Gringotts. They are schemers, inventors, and tricksters. While they might be cowardly on their own, their strength lies in their numbers and their devious contraptions. They'd rather outsmart you with a clever trap or a dodgy contract than face you in a fair fight. So, to wrap it all up, while Tolkien may have used the terms interchangeably, modern fantasy has carved out distinct identities for both. Orcs are the muscle, the brutal, powerful warriors who dominate the battlefield with sheer force. Goblins are the brains and the numbers, the cunning, inventive tricksters who overwhelm their enemies with cleverness and sheer chaotic energy. One is a sledgehammer. The other is a swarm of angry, tool-wielding wasps. Both are essential ingredients that add flavor and danger to our favorite fantasy worlds. What are some of your favorite depictions of orcs or goblins in books, movies, or games? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into fantasy lore, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.